Okay. And just a side note, I'm still driving. I haven't got to the truck stop and I haven't completely shaved yet, but I plan to do that later today, later this afternoon. So I'm still going to keep my promise. I just want to let you know I haven't forgot about you. So tomorrow I will have a clean shave, a clean face, and I'll have to take a picture of it later. I'm sorry, I don't understand anything you're saying. No, understand, no. Me English, me no Japanese or Chinese or whatever you're whatever you are saying. No comprende, but that's not Spanish. I can say no comprende, but they don't know what no comprende is. Do they know what? I don't know. Maybe they know some. Oh, I know. Arigato. I just say arigato a lot. Arigato. Oh, arigato. Oh, yes. Arigato. Yeah. Hey, what you going to do? What are you going to do? Hi, come on. I got to do it. Arigato. Yes. Oh, yeah, yes. Yeah. Very good. I can go everything in your do you know where ATM or 7-Eleven. I don't know if that registered. I'll try again. ATM. Money. Me need money. No, this isn't laughing matter. Oh, wow. Well, anyway, moving right along. Unfortunately, I don't speak any Japanese. I don't run into situations where I have problems, in Japan. Which reminds me, I'm going to start easing into talking about Japan. And I got lots of pictures, lots of videos, lots of personal experience, but no Japanese. I can't speak any Japanese. None. Zero. And I use my smartphone a lot for getting around. See, this thing is really off. It's facing up. So when I'm in Japan, I'm really at home. But it's really electric. Like when you get off the plane, my happiest time is when we're making our ascent. In the last hour or so, and making our ascent into Narita. And then finally we're off. We're landed. It's a wonderful. So as soon as I land, I'm like, I have to see what happens with I was with Sprint and T-Mobile bought Sprint. And what was cool about T-Mobile or Sprint, it was only $5 for using my phone unlimited for the whole month, including text, everything. Just like I use the phone, just like I do at home. $5. So I never really paid attention to Wi-Fi too much because I didn't use the Wi-Fi that much. I just used my phone. Oh, wow. Just gonna get right down to the wire, baby. Oh boy. I got some of these lines you can't even see. You can't even see the lines, man. Not good. I hate these walls. I don't know if you can see the wall. They have the wall. Well, this one actually has a little bit of a gap, but sometimes the wall's right up against the lot of construction on the highways. Here we go. It's gonna break up here. So another hour and a half to get there. I'm hoping I don't hit any traffic in Fresno. But only time will tell. I am currently here. This is Seattle, Washington, up in the Pacific Northwest. See, this is Canada. And I'm just south of Seattle, Washington. Actually, south of Olympia right here. I'm in this right about here. That's where I am right now in the United States. This is Washington, state of Washington, Oregon, California, and like this is Los Angeles. And this is where I'm based, Phoenix. I'm a long way from home. I'm based here, and I'm all the way up to here. Okay, this is Doug. To tell you the truth, I'm not 100% sure this microphone works better than just the naked microphone on my iPhone. I'm really not sure. I got this primarily, is like $40 bucks or something, to do the Zoom calls with all of you with Mike on the weekends. We've been doing them like Sunday. Oh, by the way, the good news is this other video I just did, I wasn't 100% sure it was going to go through. It looks like it's going to go through to Facebook, and then Mike will take it, send it to YouTube. I just did it from Madera, California, as a pilot, which is about 17 minutes long. In fact, on that, I said I'm going to go to this phone, which has 500 gigabytes of memory or storage. I'm up to 287 something. The other phone has 127. I'm up to like 124. Okay. So there's a lot of things I like to talk about with all of you, whomever's here. Now here's the reality. Let's talk about the God's honest truth of what's going on. I mean, like right now. Now, frankly, I hope this is not the reality 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. Okay, I hope it's not the reality. But the reality is I'm sitting in my truck right now, alone. You know, you're not here. And you're not here in a physical sense, okay? Now, Mike is kind of here, but to tell you the truth, we still haven't physically met. We've been talking every day via Facebook Messenger. We've met on 5 Zoom calls, but we still haven't physically met yet. So technically, I feel like Mike and I, we know each other. We feel connected. We're on the same page. We've gone through some challenges that I think were primarily on my part, and I did an adjustment for myself and reviewed and adjusted and got back on course. I think Mike probably noticed, I think. But my point is, Mike and I have not physically met yet. We've been talking about him coming onto the truck to do like a documentary for a few days right on the truck. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm hoping we can do that before this project closes. Okay, because I think it'll take things to the next level, because he and I will be in the truck physically. He's going to be able to videotape me driving, videotape me talking. I won't have to do it myself. And then he and I can have live conversations. You'll see he and I, not on a Zoom call, but in person in the truck. Okay, it's going to make it more real for you. I think that's going to be huge. And the reason why I know this, let me share some things with you that really happened to me in my life. And let me also say, 3 minutes into this might be a little long, because I'm going to have, I've talked about, I'm going to have training videos about how to raise the landing gear, how to hook up glad hands, how to do e-logs, how to trip plan, all kinds of how-to things related to truck driving, okay, right? Okay. Now, for those of you that have decided, because of my influence and what I've talked about, that you already know you may not do it like right now. Maybe your circumstances are set up to where you still have a job, you have to talk to your wife or significant other or make some adjustments. But in your heart, you've already decided that you want to do the Squire program with Knight Transportation, and you want to do this trucking thing. You want to do this thing. You're going to figure out how to do this, okay? You're going to do this. There's going to be some of you that are in that space. I actually hope there is, because that's one of the big reasons why I'm doing this. I'm doing this for those people, okay? Now, and the reason being, I already know, because I've done that, what it can do for your life. Because now, 12 years later, my life, I love my life, and it defies everything. I could tell you some things that are going on like right now. In fact, I know one thing that's specifically going on right now that most of my friends don't believe it's even happening, you know. So most of the time in my life, I have things in my life that even my closest friends think I'm making it up because it seems too far out, until there's some overwhelming proof that it's real. I'll give you one example. And this story is over 20 years old. And it's still, in fact, this story and this real life experience with this country and this person and the internet radically changed my belief system. Radically. In fact, I would say that if this had not happened, maybe even right now, all of this wouldn't be happening. Let me say that again. If that had not happened, or I had not taken action, or I had not experienced, I believe maybe right now, this right now would not be happening, and you and I would not be together. Are you with me? So let me tell you what happened. I could, unfortunately, not unfortunately, but I could spend an hour on this story alone, and I'm sad that I don't have any flashback videos I can show you, but I can tell you a true story about the videos I did have. So let me tell you, this is what I call my driving to Brazil part of the story. We're now in the driving to Tokyo part, and I told Mike the other day, yeah, I'm totally on board. We're focused on this. You know, we have 45 days now on driving to Tokyo. We're not going to switch gears, be driving to Singapore, driving to Hong Kong. You know, he's like, where? I thought we were driving to Tokyo, dude. We can't go switch gears and drive to Hong Kong or Singapore. Come on, stay with the program. You know, so I get that. But you have to understand, I'm used to doing that in the truck. I'm always going somewhere different. I'm going to Washington. In fact, I just came from Longview, Washington. I went to Fresno. Now I'm going back from Fresno to Vancouver. I'm used to going all over the place, you know. So it's not like, oh my God, now what are we doing? You know, I'm used to that. That's how I'm wired. I've been wired that way for my whole life, but primarily this last 12 years. But so it's definitely, we're in the driving to Tokyo, and I honestly believe we're going to transition into some other thing, and we're still going to have driving to Tokyo. See, that's the thing you have to remember. We haven't lost driving to Tokyo just because maybe we have a new chapter that's driving to Singapore or driving to Hong Kong or driving to Thailand or driving to Indonesia. We still haven't lost Tokyo. It's still one flight away. San Diego to Narita. It's still there. It doesn't go away because a new chapter comes up. But let's talk about the driving to Tokyo and the driving to Brazil chapter. Okay. I was, first of all, let's lay the groundwork. I don't even know. I want to check this out. I want to check out how the sound's coming out, because I might just use my naked. Just tested the mic out, and it seems kind of muffled. And the mic on this. Well, of course, this is a $1,300 phone. It's an iPhone Pro Max Super phone with 500 gigabytes of memory. The naked mic, I think, works good. I think you can probably hear me. I'm gonna test it out one more time, because I don't want to talk and mix and then find out the sound quality isn't good. So I want to test it one more time. It's just nothing. Just through my external speaker. Just tested. Sorry about all this testing, but I want to put my heart and soul into this video. Well, I do every video, but it seems fine. So I just have a naked mic. I have my Pro Max Superphone. Okay, we're at Madera. Set the stage again. We're at Madera, California. Pilot truck stop exit. Should know this exit. I know it's 19. My brain just went. But anyway, we're at the Pilot. I think it's 159 exit. But anyway, the point is we're here, you know. And I still have 5 more hours before I have to roll to Washington. I have a lot of ground to cover with you. Okay. First of all, before I even get into Brazil, I'm pretty sure it's Victor. Victor, if I have your name correctly, but if you subscribe today, and I was talking to you on your smartphone. I got to talking to you about my channel. I showed you my channel on my smartphone. My phone was literally getting my trailer loaded, and you got excited and you said you're going to subscribe if you're here watching this video. Thank you, and I'm sorry if I have I'm pretty sure it's Victor, but I'll double check that. And if you're watching this, thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for showing up. That's the way this is going to be built. Grassroots, person to person, you know, and tell your friends about it. You know, turn on some friends that maybe work at the place you're at. That's how we're going to grow this. It's going to be more, the point is, it's going to be more fun talking to people. You know, right now I'm talking to myself, okay? And then for a while, you know, I might have like 3 people that watch the videos, and then maybe 5 or 10 or whatever. But through other people primarily, this is going to grow, and it's going to be, you know, it's going to make a difference. Okay, let me try to. I'm going to go back to my Brazil story, but tell you the God's honest truth. Okay, if I'm just sitting here in front of the camera, and Mike is mixing, and we're creating this video, this driving to Tokyo thing, and I'm investing a lot of my heart and soul, even money, which I've never done, like this. Not to really just sit here and not talk to anyone. You know, that's the God's honest truth. We're doing this to talk to you and you. You know, that's the beauty of the internet. You know, right now, or tomorrow, or the next day, I could be talking to Victor. I could be talking to 3 people, and then pretty soon talking to 100 people and 1,000. I know it works that way. I've seen that happen with other people's challenge, where God only knows they're talking to 300,000 people. You know, same video, same person, same channel, but they're talking to like 300,000 people. You know, and they have 2 million subscribers, and it's a YouTube channel. You know, that's the power of the internet. You know, that's the power of taking ordinary people, just like me, just like you. You know, you may have your own unique idea, and through my experience and Mike's experience and what we're doing here, you get inspired. Okay, but also, to be honest with you, people get inspired by really cool stories. You know, but let me go tell you about my Brazil story, and I don't think my Brazilian ex-girlfriend will get pissed off at me, because I love this story. I still love her as a, you know, as a friend. You know, we haven't even talked in 16 years, so I'm not even sure if she's going to watch this video, to be honest with you, anyway. But here's the God's honest truth. Here's the abbreviated story. I think you'll get a kick out. This is actually almost like my real live, true You Got Mail. Did you ever see that movie with Tom Hanks, You Got Mail? Maybe I won't get in trouble. Maybe I'll put the trailer in here. You know, I've been getting away with putting the trailer in. Mike, I don't know how you feel about it. I don't think it messes things up, because there's nothing like the trailer. And I don't think they should get pissed off at me, because I'm promoting You Got Mail, you know, movie, so you can watch it here on YouTube, you know. But this was my real live You Got Mail story. It really happened to me, and it kind of blew my mind. So I was a taxi cab driver in Denver, and I just had got my first computer, my first desktop, a big Gateway. It cost me like $3,000, and the only reason I got that computer is I had not dated in like 4 years. I was like leaving at 5 in the morning in the cab, coming home at night, 10 o'clock. I was sleeping over at the airport sometimes. So that's how I made a transition to trucking so easy, because I was already, back then, I was living in my vehicle, working in my vehicle. It's just that I was in the city, not on the open road. And one of my friends, I'm going to tell you that, you know, a lot of the details, so it makes the story more interesting. It may take longer, okay? And if you want to tag along, fine. But if I take things out and try to tell you the soundbite part of it, just kind of takes away, you know, the cool part about it. So, how I even started driving a taxi cab, and how, if I was not driving a taxi cab, I'm not even sure if this story would have happened. But in fact, my best friend at the time, his name was Mark Gilbert, drove a cab during the weekend, and he also had a Gateway computer, and he was meeting women with his computer. And he told me, and he lived like 2 blocks from where I was living. I was living at the Barrister Building, and I'd walk over to his place, and he'd show me his Gateway computer and how he's meeting women and stuff like that. And so he talked me into 2 things. He talked me into driving a taxi cab and getting a Gateway computer. And I think ultimately when I met Sylvia, I had made the transition to Dexter Street, where I was living in a basement apartment. You know, but the point where I was living wasn't important enough. But I bought this computer, big clunky, you know those big monitors that you had to really muscle just to lift them up, and the big towers and the dial-up, and I didn't even know about how to do an email. I didn't have an email address. And what ended up happening, I got all hooked up, and Mike was talking to me about writing a blog and stuff. I'm actually a fairly good writer, so I decided to post these men seeking women ads on Yahoo. And a friend of mine, maybe it was even Mark, said, the way you do this, Grasshopper, is you write several ads about yourself, so you have more opportunity to meet people. So I wrote 4 different ads, you know, about my taxi cab driving, about my philosophy, about how, you know, on 4 different aspects of myself. And I posted on Yahoo Denver, men seeking women. And there, I don't know, there might have been 500 of them, 500 ads there, or something like that. And what would happen is, every night when I came home, I'd check my computer, I would have a response, and I'd write back to the response, and I'd begin maybe an email conversation with some of these women I was meeting online. And what happened, how I ended up in Brazil, I got one from Sylvia, and I didn't know she was from Brazil. I'm kind of giving away the punchline here, but I got her a beautiful 1-page email response that I really, just got a vibe about it over all the other women I was corresponding with. So I wrote her back, and you know, I was driving a taxi during the day, coming home at night, writing her, and I'd drive a taxi during the day. Now, this is before smartphones and laptops and everything. So imagine, I was out all day long working, not knowing what was coming in my email box, and I'd come home and there'd be another response from her. Okay? And each response she wrote, you know, there's a subject line, and I'd write her back, okay, then send it off, not knowing I'm sending it off to Brazil. And then, you know, this went on. You know, I'd go to work during the day, come back. So we corresponded back and forth. Now, I'll tell you, fast forward, we had over 2,000 pages of email between about spring of 1998 and December of 1998. 2,000 pages. And Sylvia, we had the subject matter. So it was like, You Got Mail. It was like a novel writing, a love story writing itself, because, you know, it's like the first time, hi, how are you? You know, oh, my name is Doug, you know, I drive a cab, thanks, nice meeting you, you know, and to the point, the funny part of the story is we finally got to the point, I was like, we ought to have a cup of coffee sometime, you know, we're writing, not chatting, not talking on the cell phone, just, maybe I'd meet you, you know, it'd be nice to meet. We didn't have video conferencing, whatever. And Sylvia says to me, and I don't think it'd be convenient to me. I said, well, look, I drive a taxi. I can drive if you live in Boulder or Colorado Springs. You know, these were cities that were not Denver, but like within driving distance, you know. She said, I'm further than that. I'm like, further than that? I mean, where are you? You know, kind of thing. And she said, I'm in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Sao Paulo, Brazil? It was like, Sao Paulo, Brazil? I mean, you're Brazilian? You know, kind of thing. I'm talking to a Brazilian in Sao Paulo, Brazil? On the computer? Like, that's what we've been doing? No, that was kind of like that. And she said something along the lines of, well, don't worry, we'll probably never meet. We'll probably just be friends, pen pals almost like. And, but we started talking and talking and talking, and then one thing led to another. We had so much synchronicity and connection, and you know, common ground and stuff. We fell in love before we met on July of 1998. I'll never forget. In fact, I have a video clip where I'm reading from The Light in a Dream in the Barrister Building in 2007, I believe. It's the same Light in the Dream that Sylvia tearfully recorded, read to me, and asked me if I'd like to be her boyfriend. You know, it was really beautiful, one of the most beautiful things I've ever experienced. And anyway, I said yes. So we became boyfriend and girlfriend before I even went to Brazil. Okay, so I don't want to go through the whole story because it's really intense and magical, and it woke me up in the power of the internet, and that you could actually fall in love. You could actually, and I went through the whole thing where my taxi cab driving friends thought I was making this up. You know, you didn't really meet a woman in Brazil. You didn't. And it was like, what happens if she's fat and ugly? What if those pictures aren't real? What if she's an elephant, or she's a zebra? Or what happens if she's a serial killer? You know, rapist? You know, went on and on. You know, what if she's she's just going after your money, not taxi cab money? And what if she's this? You know, and went on. I had to endure like 10 months of that until finally, you know, I bought a ticket, got my visa, and went to Brazil for a month. My friends still didn't believe that. You're not really going to Brazil. You're just making this up. Until I came back with videos of Sylvia. Okay, I came back with videos of us together in Sao Paulo. We videotaped everything. God's honest, from the time I got off the plane till the time I left. And then I went back a second time, 3 months later. It's a whole genesis of what's going on today, because I was driving a cab. I went, experienced Brazil, loved it, fell in love, wanted to go back, went back 3 months later, pulled it off. It was a little bit, frankly, easier because Sylvia met me at the airport. She spoke the language. She put me up in her apartment. She fed me. I didn't have any Airbnb expenses. I just had to get there and have a little bit of spending money, okay, and pay my bills, you know. It was still a stretch. And back then, phone calls were 50 cents a minute, so when I talked to her for an hour, it cost me $30 an hour. So, but even though I was 20-something years ago, the belief system that I could pull something off like this, and then the experience of all my friends telling me this isn't real, she's not a real person, and then I had the videotapes. Well, I regret I didn't transfer those videotapes into a DVD just so I could show them. But what happened is I kept watching them. In fact, it was so funny. I got to the point, ended up being a limo driver, and some of my best customers, clients I would show them the videotapes on the way there. But you got to check out these videos on Brazil and Sylvia, you know. So I'd show the videos on the way to the airport with my clients. It was so bad that I threw them in the dumpster once, and then crawled in the dumpster and got them back, and then ultimately I threw them in the dumpster because I you know, for 2 years I couldn't stop watching them. And so that was like 20-something years ago. We're still in contact, actually. She doesn't talk to me, she writes, and she still writes. Like when she has something to say, she can write. She calls me Andy, by the way. My middle name's Andrew, Douglas Andrew. Andy. She has an opinion, and she's smart. And anyway, she's still an extraordinary person. Which leads me into, I'm not going to get into it right now, but I have something very similar happening all over again right now. Similar, not identical. No two stories are identical, and I don't know the outcome of this story, but I have still the same things going on. Friends saying, I've got to the point, honestly, on this video, or even with friends, some of the things that happen to me I just can't share, because if I share with like 10 friends to say, hey, something really cool happened, I'll get all kinds of negative feedback and opinion and to the point just sabotages the whole experience, where it's no longer even magical anymore, so anyway, I have multiple realities going on, like right now, okay? Like, I mean, real stuff. And because I've gone through this experience, and here's the deal I like to highlight that I'm real clear on, that is who I am. I'm now realized that, like when I met Sylvia, I was 45. And I was a young 45, and there's about an 8-year difference between us. And it really didn't matter, it's about 8 years, and I look young, much younger than I do now. And I'm the same person, I was the same person, except I think I'm actually a better model now, even though I'm older, and I'm more financially secure than I was there. I'm actually in a better position, but I have not been in a serious love relationship in over 20 years now. I had a couple little like physical flings, like literally like 2001, a long time ago, to where I can't believe it's even been this long. But the reality is, I kind of woke up to realize I'm almost 70 years old, and I may never fall in love again, or someone fall in love with me again, ever, because I'm the kind of guy now, it seems like I'm the kind of guy that women, and I'm not knocking it, I'm just saying I'm realizing this. I'm the kind of guy that women find fascinating, entertaining, smart. They think I'm smart and enlightened. I'm the kind of guy that they like to be friends with, and I'm totally cool with that, because I feel like a relationship should start out with a friendship. Too many times you rush into, and I'm saying Sylvia and I kind of did, and look the way it turned out. We didn't stay together, but I'm really cool. Like, if I were right now to meet a woman that was, 30-something years younger than me, and from what I could see, everything was crazy, it was real, and I just assume, honestly, I just assume we're going to end up just being friends. Now, does that mean I wouldn't, if not being in a relationship for like 20-something years, regardless of how it happens, when it happens, with whom it happens, with the clock ticking, that I wouldn't enjoy falling in love? Let me put it this way. I enjoy falling in love with someone, okay? And to be honest with you, if I had this person that I could describe, it would probably be much easier for me to fall in love than for them to fall in love with me. That's the biggest problem, is that to fall in love and have a relationship, and it goes from a friendship, while the other part of the equation, right, is that both people have to fall in love with each other, right? And that's another level, okay? And then the other is they have to, go from being friends and getting to know each other, fall in love with each other, say now we're boyfriend and girlfriend, and we're in this relationship, and then they have to stay together, you know, and not break each other's heart, you know. So it's complicated, you know. But it's, you know, it's like that saying, I mess it up all the time. That's better to fall in love and have lost and got hurt than not at all, you know. In fact, I feel that personally, this is kind of what gets me in trouble. I can love someone unconditionally, you know, love them full on, you know, without them loving me back, just because I think love is kind of has a life of its own. And you know, someone could say to me, this in general, you know, I could feel this energy and this chemistry and everything, and finally break. And by the way, falling in love for me, it's not something that happens overnight. I want to put that in there. It's not something I'm going to meet someone and talk with them for a week or two and then instantly want to marry them and fall in love. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I don't know how long it would take. A year, 2 years, 6 months. I have friends of mine named Brian and Sandy, who are my favorite couple. Okay, they probably won't mind that I talk about them. They met online. Sandy was actually watching Brian's videos on YouTube, okay, and she was curious about him, so I was watching his videos. In fact, they have a video on YouTube where they talk about this whole story, but they're a perfect example. She was I think Sandy's from Peru, I believe, and she's wonderful. But she started out just watching the videos, and obviously Brian didn't know who she was, and I think they talked back and forth for 2 years before they finally met. They had all that foundation, and when they met, they definitely fell in love. And they're friends of mine, and I've got a video with them in my truck, and I've stayed at Airbnbs with them, and I chat with them. They travel together. They've been to Singapore. They've been to Thailand. They've been all over the world together. In fact, they told me Singapore is a beautiful place. But they're just awesome. But again, they're both about the same age. There's not an age difference. They lay a really solid foundation. They like the same kinds of things. You know, they both travel. And if you saw them together, I don't know, honestly, there's some people you think, wow, they look great and they're in love. But then sometimes you look and you go, I don't know how they got together, but they're together and stuff like that. So Brian and Sandy are totally awesome. They inspire me that you can fall in love. You know, they're like the love goddesses, or the love gurus, or the love doudres, or whatever. They inspire me that you can actually meet someone and fall in love, and even meet someone online, you know. So I'm bringing all this up to let you know up front that one of the reasons I wanted to even do this channel, as crazy as it sounds, that maybe someone would watch one of my videos and like me, you know, want to get to know me, you know. Maybe it's possible, you know, because it happened to me before, you know. That's the key. Now, I'm still open to have, you know, meet people and be friends, and have lots of friends, quality friends, you know. So this channel, driving to Tokyo, sometimes I'll say driving to Japan, because I really just don't limit it to Tokyo. In fact, it's getting dark now, isn't it? I notice it's getting dark. I'm talking really a long time too. Hey, and I think that movie I just did a little while ago just went over to Facebook, and I can tell Mike is there. So I want this channel to be real, authentic, and you know. And let me talk a little bit more about myself and relationship is screwing up, you know. the truth is I screw up a lot. What I mean by screw up, I do the wrong things. I think I'm doing the right thing. Let me try to explain it another way. Okay, I could have, let's just say in theory, okay, say just in theory, let's just say that one of the things I'd love to happen is for someone to meet me like Brian and Sandy's story, like a woman watches my videos like Sandy watched Brian's videos and gets curious about me and inquires and maybe even writes me something like, I like what you're doing, you know, and I'm like curious about it, so I contact that person. I like being really honest, and sometimes I'm too honest, and sometimes I share too much, you know, and I'm doing it for the right reasons. I just like to be transparent and honest, but sometimes it's taken the wrong way, so I mess up. You know, I can have a perfect situation, and I say the wrong thing, or I do the wrong thing, and it might be real innocent, and I only do it a couple times, and it just sabotages the whole thing. I've done that. I do that a lot. I shouldn't say I do that a lot, but I'm saying I do it for the right reasons. I do it because I'm trying to be honest. One of my friends, women have told me this, because I've never really dated, so they said you have to be mysterious. You can't let them know everything. You can't tell them where you are and what you're doing. You have to kind of be, you can't tell me about the whole life. You kind of have to be, you know, sometimes the bad boy. Sometimes you have to be mysterious, because women like men they can't get sometimes, you know. They don't like a guy that just is easy to get. And so if you're honest and sincere and stuff, it's kind of I'd say it's kind of a turn-off. That's in the relationship 101 file, you know. It's just, and to me it's just kind of a drag, because it's against, I don't like playing games. I don't like holding back. I don't like pretending to be something I'm not, just to be maybe potentially so this person falls in love with me. But that's kind of, there's a game, you know, and that, I guess that's part of the reason why I've stayed single for all these years. So if you're a woman watching this, tell me, is that how it really works? I mean, you have to, you know, feel like you couldn't get this guy. He's untouchable. He's never going to fall in love with you, and he's too busy. He's not even paying attention to you. And is that how it works? You kind of have to play hard to get. I mean, I'd love to get some coaching. Maybe I'll figure it out and maybe do better next time, or, you know, whatever. You know what I mean? It's just kind of funky in a way. So people like Brian and Sandy, and Mike and Michelle, and you know, there's people that they've already gone past all of that, and they're in love and they're committed. That's wonderful. You know, I love to be in that place, because I don't have to have like 5 girlfriends, or, you know. Anyway, that's another whole subject that may not seem like it has nothing to do with driving to Tokyo, right? Because it's not driving, it's not Tokyo. And but the truth is, I want my channel to be like my blog, storytelling, everything that has multi-dimensional. Like, there might be a woman that doesn't really care about trucking, or even Tokyo, you know, but something about me they're curious about, you know, like, how did you get here, or how did you stay single for 20-something years? I mean, tell me, I'm gonna just get involved with this relationship just to find out how this even happened, you know. So that's the other thing, is curiosity, you know. So anyway, so relationships in life, and, you know, the internet, and falling in love, and, you know, all that stuff. It's like, this channel, I don't want it to be just, okay, I'm just going to show you how to drive a truck, you know, this is how the night transportation works, because I can do all that. I've been a trainer, okay, okay? I can talk to you about Tokyo. I can talk to you about Airbnbs. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that Mike and I can build, and I love Mike for wanting to take things block by block by block in a specific order and sequence and time frame. But to be honest with, sometimes things happen right in the middle of that, you know. Hey, I know you guys are working on this, but this is happening right now. You know, this is really happening. It's right in the middle of all this stuff. I know it's not like in your game plan, but it's happening, you know. So that's what happens with life. You know, there's a John Lennon saying that life is what happens when you're making other plans. And to me, if you really think about that, it's really profound. If you really think about life is what happens when you're making other plans. Life is what happens when you're making other plans. So in my mind, it's like the way I would interpret it, and it might be completely wrong. Like Mike and I work on this channel, driving to Tokyo. We have all our training module. We have our blog. I have this. This is you know, life is what happens when you're making other plans. While we're making all these plans, these other plans, but life can be happening. Real life can be happening right now. You know, amidst all these plans. You know what I mean? And it's important to not neglect that either. In fact, you know, sometimes that very thing you think is not real, or it's not the important thing, or it's not it, ends up being it. You know what I mean? So back to I really experienced a real life You Got Mail story from beginning to end. I've experienced a lot of things that I haven't even talked about, like coming home to the worst high school shooting in U.S. history, the Columbine shooting when I came back from Brazil, been with ABC News, I think the executive producer of ABC News. I haven't talked about how it was massaging Martha Stewart or Annie Leibovitz or Faith Popcorn. I haven't talked about a lot of things. Meeting Jack Canfield, getting mentored by him for 4 years, what that was like. I have zillions of chapters that aren't specifically driving to Tokyo, but they're still worth talking about. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm gonna probably close this little rant out, and I have to even check what time it is. The video I just sent to Mike, I think, is there, and this one I gotta see how long I've been talking. 32 minutes. 32 minutes. That's the other thing. If you meet someone, you really have to talk more than just a few minutes. And in fact, a friend of mine, Freddie, said you really have to ideally have video calls so you can see each other. And I told Freddie the truth. I said, if I met someone and they were kind of interested in me, you know, just interested, even as a friend, I'd want them to see me, like right now, see me what I really look like as much as possible. So they understood this is the way I dress, you know, this is what I do for a living, you know, this is how I look. So I don't have like a projection of what I look like. And they fall in love with that projection or that idea, or, you know, it's good to face the reality. But I've always felt that, you know, you can't judge a book by its cover. You know, that I wanted, like, if I was to fall in love and someone were to fall in love with me, I want them to fall in love with me, the way I am, exactly. Even though they're the complete opposite, or they're on a completely different level. I'll tell you another thing. I'll just kind of finish with this, because it's related to all this. If I met someone that was on a completely different level, even financially, okay, or any number of things, even though I understood it and I felt like, you know, I'm working on a lot of things right now that I believe I could have huge financial breakthroughs. I know, because I pretty much have had a huge financial, I saved $37,000 last year. And to some people, it's funny, I thought it was a huge breakthrough to save $37,000 last year. And another person, they make that every day in investments. You know, I just made $30,000 in investments today, you know. And that, to them, it's not even a big deal. For me, it's a big deal, okay? You know, being debt-free, paying cash for a car, paid cash for my Subaru. Another person, you know, they pay cash for their Maserati, you know. So, you know what I mean? There's different levels. Everything, you can't compare people because there's always different levels, you know. I just bought my first house. Well, I own 5 of them, you know. You know what I mean? So, life, from my opinion, there's the superficial stuff, and I'm not saying that money's not important, or owning houses or Maseratis, or you know, buying, going shopping, and going, you know, all the stuff that money can buy. I like what George Harrison said. He said that, in fact, I don't know if YouTube or whatever blanked this out. I've been trying to share. I like sharing George Harrison's last interview. But he talks about, you know, this is George Harrison of the Beatles, which was, you know, some people that are in their mid-30s don't even know who the Beatles are, you know. Well, who are the Beatles? You know, what do you mean the Beatles? You mean like Beatles, like you gotta have like Exterminator come out and, you know, eliminate the Beatles? No. They were actually a band. They were a band? What songs do they have? You know, that kind of thing. But George Harrison was a member of the Beatles, and he was, you know, he passed away. In fact, that's another whole part of my driving to Brazil story. I believe I have to double check this, fact check myself, but I believe he passed away from cancer around 2001. It's been that long, so it's been like 20 years. And I was in Denver, and I actually wrote auto writing, disappeared, the driving to Brazil story while the TV was playing the announcement of George Harrison's death. And then his last interview was on. I sat and watched it. It's on YouTube. And it had a really profound effect on me. But one of the things he said was something along the lines of, money can buy freedom. You know, you can go to the Bahamas when you want to. And, you know, but that's not the kind of bliss or kind of freedom he was after, you know. And because he was into meditation. I don't know if you know this, but George Harrison was in the Self-Realization Fellowship, the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda, that I was a member of that group for 16 years. I know he must have went to the ashram all the time. He was married in the SRF church, and I know all about that. When Ravi Shankar passed away, they had the memorial service in Encinitas, California at the SRF ashram. I lived there for 16 years. So, and he talks about the autobiography of Yogi. That's another whole huge chapter that I can get into on this channel. That is not driving to Tokyo, you know, that you could find interesting. Okay, again, you may not find driving interesting, but you might find this part of the story, because the Self-Realization Fellowship organization is huge. They're all over the world. I don't know how many millions of members they have, and it's a great organization. I was a member of them. I'm not, quote unquote, devotee now, like in the real strict sense, but and that's another whole huge conversation about religion and spirituality and all of that. You know, I've done transcendental meditation. I've chanted Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. I'm a member of a Tokyo Buddhist temple. You know, I can go on and on and on, but it's up for 39 minutes, and so I've got to stop. Plus, it's getting dark. And I just did this one movie, and I have to figure out what this video is going to be about. See, I haven't even figured out what this is going to be about. You know, we're just talking right now about what it could be about, but we don't know what it's going to be about yet. Okay, so I'm going to close this out and figure that out. What is this video going to be about? You know, this is an extra long 39-minute chapter, intro about what this is really about, the Matrix, the video Matrix, Ooh, the video Matrix. I keep thinking about the video Matrix that I did in September. Here's the funny thing. Here's the real funny thing. Think about this. You don't know me. You don't know Mike. Probably don't know what the video Matrix is. So I'm going to tell you how weird this is in a good way. Okay. I was really happy just being alone in the truck. Not going to events, not talking in front of the camera like this, just doing my thing, being quiet, not having a channel, anything like that. Okay. And I don't know how this happened, but Michelle, Mike's wife, Michelle, started talking to me. I don't know, she had an antenna up, I don't know how, maybe she read my profile and thought I might be interested. She started talking to me, and she didn't talk to me about the video Matrix at first. We started talking back and forth, and I really liked her voice and what we talked about, and we went, I don't know how long. And finally, I'm just like, what do you do? And as soon as what do you do? Oh, we do the video Matrix. It's something you really ought to check into, And I'm like, so people buy people, not things. And I was like, what is it? And I'm like, well, I guess I'll do that. I didn't really think about it. I didn't think that was a 90-day challenge. I just thought, oh yeah, I'll buy it. It was $197 to do these videos with other people from all over the world. And I thought, what the heck? I guess I'm just kind of get out of my comfort zone and do these videos. And she said, basically what we do, we ask a question every day, and you answer the question on video, and then you watch a video every day, and you do that for 90 days. I'm like, at first I thought, I don't know if I can do that because I have this truck driving job. And actually, this is the weird thing about that whole thing. Here I've been talking for 42 minutes on this video in a truck stop. Same job, same everything. And now, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. I don't know. It's July now. I guess it's almost a year. Later, I'm working with Mike, who's one of the co-founders, who's my project. He said, you can call me my project manager or whatever. And I'm sitting here in front of the camera for 39 minutes, and I could probably go on for 3 hours. And back then, when I was doing the video Matrix, I have clips of me saying, I don't know if it's a challenge to even fit this into my schedule. I do my best to answer the questions every day. And I was barely able to talk in front of the camera like a few minutes, So one of the, you could say benefits, but some people would say, what? You went from, you could only talk for 2 minutes, and now you're sitting there at a truck stop talking to yourself for 43 minutes, and that's one of the benefits. I think that's kind of weird, But it's turned into now a channel. And God only knows where this channel is going to go. And who knows who I'm going to meet on the computer. And, I think magical things can happen from weird things. You know what I mean? Your whole life can change really fast in a really significant, positive way. Okay? And even ways that your friends will say are impossible. Like I have something in my mind, in fact I have a lot in my mind that I think is possible, that if I tell Mike some of the stuff, so I tell him some of the stuff, and I think he's starting to believe, actually he's starting to drink the Kool-Aid a little bit to understand where I'm going, which is cool. He's like, can I get Madeline's information? I want to call her and talk to her, because this is what can happen. You realize that if we have our videos on the connected with the night transportation videos, there's a night transportation video about women that has something like 7.5 million views. 7.5 million views. And we could be right in there. Oh yeah, I know, Mike. I know. I've been thinking about this. You should talk about Madeline. I've been talking to Madeline since the very first phone call that we had. I know. I've been talking to Madeline about getting together and doing Zoom, and I've been sending her videos. I built a friendship. It's a legitimate, she's married, friendship. She'd tell you. We have this really close relationship, Mike. I built it up. I've it's happening. It's real, And he's like, whoa, you got to get on this. You know, I've been on this. You know, Madeline would, if you watch this video, probably may watch it. Madeline's been doing, she's awesome. She's got a lot of responsibility, and I really believe she really, heart's in the right place. She told me once, recently, that she loved one of my videos. I just couldn't hold the camera, which is cool. I understand that. Even this mystery person that I'm talking about tells me, you got to be safe. Be safe. You know, we can chat later. You know, you focus on your driving, which is sweet. Same thing that Madeline tells me. So I'm with the program, but she said that we could do training videos. She was saying, well, let's just start this thing. And this is along the lines of what I'm talking about. You start it and do it and create a concept piece. You don't just talk about it. You go tonight, the higher ups, the VP of driver services, you know, training or whatever, and you show them, this is our website. We've got 120 videos that we've done the first 3 months. You know, this is what we've done. Imagine what we could do with your support. Imagine this is what we've done when I've invested $7,000 in this. What would happen if we do X, Y, Z with your support? You know, we are a partner in this. What could this do to recruitment, to retention, to productivity, to inspiration, to motivation for this company? You know, I've thought about all this in intimate detail. You know, I'm the master of this crazy idea. I'm the author of it, you know. Trust me. Mike's he's kind of catching the vision, you know. I'm kind of like a truck, he'll understand what I'm talking about. I'm like a trucking David Wood, is what I am, you know. I'm like a Forrest Gump of metaphysics, you know. And this could go as far as you want it to go. I'm serious. This could go like, if I tell you some of the things where I think it can go, you wouldn't believe me. Seriously, if I told you where I think this is going, you wouldn't believe me, okay? You wouldn't. Okay? However, if you stay plugged in, all you have to do is subscribe to this thing and watch the videos, you know, instead of watching regular TV. You know, check this out. Give it, you know, a half an hour a night to see where this is going, you know. You know, check it out if you're curious, you know. You know, you don't have to watch stuff that's all polished and, you know. Yeah, if you do anything with several million, you know, think of like motion pictures. You know, if you spend like $100 million on something, it's gonna be, you know, what would happen if someone loved my idea and liked what we were doing? They were willing to invest $100 million in this project. What do you think it would look like? Who would act me? Who would act me? Not me, probably. You know, what would it be like with Brad Pitt played me, or Keanu Reeves played me? You know, what would it be like? What would happen if they can take the real story and fictionalize a little bit? Like, let's say the person that is interested, or I'm interested, did fall in love with me. But movies, they can take a real story and fictionalize it a little bit so it's believable, to make it super interesting. Or it might be so interesting the way it is that you don't have to fictionalize any of it. Now, I could literally be on I know you think you really are out there, dude. I mean, this Brazil story, I was with you there, but now you're talking about being on a movie set, watching, you know, them do your story and ask you if it's okay, if it kind of fits the real thing. Yeah, I'm telling you that, because it's possible. Is it going to happen? I can't tell you for sure, but it's possible. You know, anything is possible. Whatever you can conceive and believe, you can achieve, you know. It starts in your mind, you know what I mean? Well, you're almost 70 years old. That's what Victor said to me. I said, I'm almost 70 years old, you know, He goes, wow, I would have never believed that. Yeah, you know, I'm working full time. I'm doing like 3 or 4 movies a day, and I only post 1, you know, or 2. But you know, I'm not, you know, I'm just doing around the clock, and I'm doing one right now. I did another one. I'm gonna probably finish this. 15 minutes of ranting, and I'm going to probably make this into a movie, and then I'm going to probably go to the truck stop, sit in the massage chair for a little bit, and come back. I might even do, I got to find out what's going on here. Hold on. I got to check something out here. Okay, nothing yet. I'm looking for to see if I get any response. I've got 2 phones. Actually, I got 3 phones, and I hope I don't blow it. I'm always blowing. I hope I don't blow it in this whole thing that I'm talking about. You know, it can happen. You know, you can have all the things going your way, because we're human. Say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, and you can go from you're in the zone and. Oh my God, I was right there. And why did I do that? Why did I say that? You know. And then there's the whole it wasn't meant to be. Don't worry about it. What do you mean it wasn't meant to be? I felt it, man. What are you talking about? You know, pure potentiality. When you have pure potentiality in your life, it's like right there. And then when you achieve it, and then it really happens, woo, it's wonderful. Okay, so I'm gonna close this out, and I have to figure out what this movie's gonna be about, or maybe I'll just send this in to the master, Mike, the dude. You know, he kind of reminds me of, you know, Mike reminds me of. You ever seen The Great Lebowski, the dude? You know. Watch it sometimes. It's actually a really good movie. I just shaved my beard, by the way, if you noticed. And I don't want to tell you why, because it's going to be kind of a giveaway, kind of a underground Matrix story that's brewing right now. It's actually getting a little scruffy. I probably have to go and wash my face, you know. So anyway, to be continued. This isn't goodbye. This is hello, and this is or welcome aboard, or like and subscribe. Join our adventure. You know, step into the mystery. See where this is all going. Be a part of it. You know, you can be a part of this. You know, anything's possible. Driving to Tokyo. You know, a friend of mine, Julio, he may not be watching this. He was funny today. He's going, Doug, you really ought to change the name. Driving to Tokyo isn't something people will remember. You should have like just Doug Ware or Doug W. You know, www Doug W. Because then they can remember your name's Doug and W, and you know, you shouldn't have Driving to Tokyo. It's too. How are they going to remember that? Well. I tried to explain it. It's like a mantra. There's driving in Tokyo. The 2 is kind of a bridge, driving to Tokyo. Because 2 major parts of this is driving in Tokyo. Okay? And it's kind of the theme. It's kind of like the brand. It's kind of like... And I was amazed that I even got the Driving to Tokyo domain. You know, Tokyo's a big city. And you'd think someone else would think of, or thought about, or did Driving to Tokyo. But I feel, so I'm not going to get rid of the domain and just do a www Doug Wirma truck driver or something, you know, Doug Wirma truck number 102963. No, I want Driving to Tokyo. I appreciate the feedback, Julio, but I'm going to keep that. Okay. Now it might evolve. This story might go to Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, Hong Kong, you know, but I'm going to stick with Driving to Tokyo right now. Otherwise, Mike's going to kill me. If I went to him and said, Mike, I decided to change. Julio was telling me that maybe we should have a simpler name, just Driving to Doug, or just www. Doug Wirma, whatever. No, you go, dude. What are you talking about? So I'm not going to do that. Anyway, I'm going to close this out. I have to close this out and push this little button. And I can actually just make this a whole episode, right? But it's up to Mike. He's the editor. He's the project manager. I'm just a humble little truck driver here. How far are we in my break, Abraham? 6 hours and 39 minutes. Means I'm supposed to go to work. I did take a power nap. I have to get my proper rest. My mystery friend is saying, "Oh, I love it, though. It's nice when someone cares about it. How much sleep have you got? You need to go to bed. You need to sleep. You got to be safe. You got." So I have night transportation telling me be safe, but then I have this mystery person in cyberspace that's telling me to be safe all the time. I love it, actually. I love when people care enough to tell you, take care of yourself, be safe. You have to wash your face, you have to take a shower, you have to change your clothes, you need to, properly groom yourself. It's cool when you get coaching, well, if you're gonna date, man, you're gonna have to like play the part, man. You can't have a scruffy beard. You gotta have nice clothes. Now I have seen some guys out here. Every once in a while you see like a truck driver that's wearing a suit. It does look kind of weird, to tell you the truth. Or even business casual, but you can, you can. I'm more on the type I'd rather have like Driving to Tokyo, hoodies and Driving to Tokyo hats. So I always wear a hat, and it has a cat on it. You could have Driving to Tokyo on it, with a little Driving to Tokyo logo, Could have Driving to Tokyo, all kinds of things. I'd rather have that. Dan Millman, who was a really cool dude, wrote the book, The Way the Peaceful Warrior. Check it out sometime. I met him when I was part of the Inside Edge. When he started to do keynotes, he had jeans and white t-shirt, or a t-shirt, so. And not a super power suit or tie or whatever. He just showed up like that. They didn't ask him to wear a suit. They didn't ask him. You heard the Gandhi story? I may not have this perfect, but I'm going to end with this. Gandhi was supposed to speak, and they said for him to speak, he'd have to dress a certain way. And so he just sent the suit to him and said, "Here's your suit, but I'm not in it." This idea, you have to be authentically yourself. Totally. Totally authentically you. Be the best version of you. That's what I challenge you to do. Be the best version of you. Live your story. There's only one you on the planet, right? It's like there's only one me. There's only one Mike. There's only one Michelle. So anyway, think about it. Life is what happens when you're making other plans. Meditate on that a little bit. I'm gonna go inside, check out the truck stop, be a trucker for a little while, okay, before I jump in the truck and drive. I don't know how far I'm gonna go, but it's funny. I just saw Julio up in Albany, and he just goes up and down 5. Who knows? We might be able to connect again. So I might even videotape him next time. So I'm going to close this out. See ya.